All right. Good evening, everyone. Welcome to the continuing education. This week we've decided, or this month we've decided to go over the referee abuse prevention policy. And we think it's very, very important. And we're going to get into the details in just a little bit. Just want a little bit of a housekeeping. First of all, my name is John Cowie. I'm the State Director of Instructions. We have a couple more people that are with us. Pedro and Abby, would you introduce yourselves, please?
Good evening, everybody. My name is Pedro Trejo. Pleasure to be here. I'm the state youth referee administrator, as well as manager for mentors and coaches. Pleasure to be here. Abby.
Gentlemen and ladies, thank you for being here tonight and this evening. We look forward to a fabulous education session. My name is Abby Apology. I'm the Director of Referee Development for the state of Illinois. Thank you.
We also have a few people that are on the line that are involved with the committee, and I see that we have Nicola. Nicola, could you just unmute yourself? I'm sorry, you are unmuted. Can you just introduce yourself real quick? Nicola, you there? I was. Well, I guess not. So we'll just keep going. That's fine. Just a few housekeeping things. Please, everybody mute yourself right now. I've have you unmuted, but please mute yourself right now. So when we open up for questions, you'll be able to talk and unmute yourself and ask the question. So if everybody could please mute themselves real quick so we don't have any background noise, that'd be wonderful. All right. We will have questions at the end of each segment. So just hold your questions until the end of each segment, and we'll tell you when the questions are, when we want you to ask the questions. All right. Again, welcome. This is the referee abuse prevention policy that U.S. Soccer just instituted the beginning of the soccer season. I think it was March 1. All right, we're going to be going over the policy. Pedro's going to go over the policy. He's then going to throw it to me, and I'm going to go over how the reporting procedure. So the first thing we're going to talk about is let's go over what we're going to be looking at real quick. The overall process, as you can see here, we have the clear. It's got to be a clear incident, whether it's abuse, assault, or harassment by players or by coaches. We're going to go over about the referee team will write and transmit the report. We go into who's responsible to verify the allegations. Within 30 days, we will have a hearing to verify everything. And then the competition authority submits a case, and the file is delivered to the federation. So there is a set procedure, and we want everybody to follow it, okay? Next thing, focus. What we're going to be focusing in, or I'll be focusing in what is clear, or Pedro will, what is clear incident, whether it's abuse, assault, or harassment, like I said, and then we'll be going over the procedure, all right? So Pedro, I'm going to stop sharing. I'm going to throw it over to you. If you can share your screen, that'd be great.
Fantastic. Thank you very much, John. And once again, great to have you along, everybody else. Before we get started, we know we got some limitations in terms of interaction. I think at the moment, you're able to raise your hand and lower your hand virtually, as well as enter a question in the Q&A. So let's just test our environment before I start with the PowerPoint presentation. And I'm going to ask a question, and I'm going to ask you to use your hand raise or leave it not raised after the question. So the first question is, those of you in the audience right now, who is your first year as a referee, can you please raise your hand right now electronically in the raise hand feature here in the Zoom? And I see some hands coming up. Fantastic. So it's your first year as a referee. Welcome to the team. Lovely to have you. That was about 12 or so individuals. Okay, you can lower your hands down. All you have to do is click it again, and this way, it's down. Next question: if you are 2-year to 6-year, 2-year to 6-year referee, click on that hand to let us know that you have that experience in terms of number of years. And yes, as expected, it's a little bit more, probably twice, almost twice as many. Okay, thank you for that. Click your hand again so you can lower your hand electronically. Thank you, very good. And then the last question is, if you're 7+ or more years of experience, which is the rest of you, but just click on it so we can take a quick look. And indeed, the most hands raised. Okay, so a lot of experience as a group combined. So there you have it, John. If you're taking notes, about 12, 1 year, and then 24, 2 to 6, and the rest is 7+. Well, thank you for that, everyone. And so, as John said, we're gonna get started, and we're gonna talk about first, what is abuse, assault, harassment, as defined by this updated policy. This policy has existed for many, many, many years. Now it's an update, and now it adds clarification in terms of definitions of what abuse, assault, and harassment is, as well as more clear as process, as John described in that slide, of the steps to take, not only by the person who unfortunately would have experienced that abuse, assault, or harassment, but also the competition authorities, the leagues, the member associations, and then ultimately for the federation. So the question is, what is this update? What does it mean to be abused, assaulted, and or harassed during a game? So why, first of all, why the need for this? Well, very simply put, these things are getting a bit out of hand, or a lot out of hand in some games, right? So referee abuse is on the rise, generally speaking, and not only soccer, it's actually other sports as well. But in soccer, and this is data from the referee department, 90% of referees report that they've been abused, assaulted, or harassed in the last 5 years. So it's not like 20 years ago, but rather in the recent time. And then out of those who responded, 60% chose not to come back due to this experience, an awful experience, which nobody goes or signs up for, whether you're a player, coach, referee, or spectator, to be abused or assaulted or harassed. So it's understandable that some referees decide not to come back. And then, as I mentioned, overall, youth environments need you referees, right? For the competition to be official, to be formal, right? So not just the teams or players, referees are essential. Okay, so that is the why. And so how do we support, how do we help this policy, this movement really in prevention or taking preventative actions? So US Soccer finally was able to invest time, resources, funding, and all of this to create resources. This has been going on for over a year with focus groups, with input and feedback from not only referees, but administrators, coaches, etc., from across the country. And they've come up with a very, very good set of resources, such as the presentation you see here, clear definitions, clear penalties or punishments, right? Which could be game suspensions or even time-based, depending on the incident or the offense. Also, another update or introduction is the idea about penalty multipliers. So if it's a first offense, and depending on the severity of the offense, it could be a warning, but the league could also, or the competition authority could also say, no, we're going to go with the minimum, even though it's a first offense. Second offense, then it multiplies. Third offense, and even more. The other thing about multipliers, which everybody should be careful and should know about, is that if it's referee who's a minor, oops, somebody needs to mute themselves, I think. Referee is a minor, then the offense is 3 times the minimum. Okay, and it could be more. All right, so then again, all of these resources and then what you can do, not just as referees, but we shared this presentation with coaches. Oh, I believe, Nicola, you are unmuted. If you can mute yourself so that we don't hear the noise or the background sound. But yeah, I was saying we shared this presentation and presented with a group of coaches in March. So again, it's going to take not only referees to be aware about it, but also coaches, administrators, parents, and etc. Okay. And you're going to get the link. Some of you have already reviewed some of this material. You already know where to find these resources, but today we're going to share them once again so that you in turn can help disseminate this information. We've also talked to assigners last week, and we also are asking them to share the information as much as possible. Okay? All right, so let's watch a short video to kind of have an overview of what the policy is. Okay, I think people are muting yourself. Remember what John said? Everybody must remain muted. Thank you very much.
Soccer is a beautiful game, full of passion that can bring out the best in us. But when passion crosses the line, it harms the game's integrity and the safety of those who work in service to soccer. Referees are essential to the game, yet they often face situations that threaten their well-being. In our commitment to protect and empower our officials, U.S. Soccer has strengthened its referee abuse prevention policy. The revised policy encourages referees, players, coaches, and spectators to report abuse. Referee abuse is not always physical. Aggressive language and behavior are also forms of abuse. Comments or gestures intended to insult, belittle, or undermine a referee are unacceptable. This behavior results in a minimum 2-game suspension. Abusive language, harassment, intimidation, or threats towards a referee will result in a minimum 4-game suspension. Physical threats or derogatory language, in person or online, result in a minimum 6-game suspension. Discriminatory actions targeting a referee's race, ethnicity, gender, orientation, or other aspects of their identity result in a minimum 10-game suspension. Far too often, referees also endure physical abuse. Outside of a friendly handshake, there is never any reason to touch the referee. Even minor deliberate physical contact, if unwanted, will result in a minimum 3-game suspension. Intentional physical confrontation, like shoving or throwing objects, results in a minimum 10-game suspension. Violent acts such as physical assault on referees threaten the safety of everyone involved. These acts can result in a lifetime ban and legal action. Together, we have the power to shape the future of soccer and create a culture of respect where players, coaches, spectators, and referees can enjoy the beautiful game the way it was intended. Be a force for good. Respect the call.
And there you have it. That gives you a brief summary as to the updates. And now we're going to
Soccer
focus
is a
on the next part, which is what is abuse, what is assault, what is harassment, what does this policy say? And there's 2 categories. The first one that we're going to cover is non-physical abuse. And as you can imagine, the second part later on is the physical abuse. And some of it was mentioned in the video. And so there's 4 levels of the non-physical abuse, assault, harassment. And level 1 is the lowest in severity. And it typically involves verbal taunting, words, gestures, as you see in the image, that are insulting, abusive, offending, right? And by the way, the loss of the game does say send off offense for a player or coach or team official for any such behavior, right? Abusive, offensive, insulting language or actions, okay? So we're talking about clear incidents when this happens, right? Not other things outside that do happen in the game, such as dissent or stepping out of the technical area or persistent offenses. This is separate, okay? So that's the focus. And here in this example, it carries a penalty. Let me see here of either, hold on here, the 2 games or a time. But in this case, because it's level 1, you have the number of games in this case. Okay. Level 2, here we have harassment, intimidation. And you can see some of the examples here on the list on the left-hand side. But also look at the image, right? This is clearly probably a coach. It could be a spectator, but more often than not, sometimes in some games, it may be a team official, but it's clear, like the body language, there's no doubt, and what they're saying, there's no doubt, right? And then the other thing to point out here is that this green band, at least in Illinois and some other states, this is to identify referees who are minors, and therefore to inform, really more than anything, people around them, so that if there were to be an offense or abuse or assault towards someone who's a minor, that it's multiplied by 3 times the punishment or the penalty. And for this level 2 harassment, you have a 4-game minimum suspension. The league can decide to make it more than that. This is the minimum. Okay, moving on to level 3, also verbal taunting. Here, the aggressive nature is more evident. Now there's threats being made of violence being made towards a assistant referee or referee. And you have the list here: aggression, derogatory comments, and it could be on the field, before the game, during the game, after the game, and even online, right? Cyberbullying, doxing, other type of behavior that is level 3 is listed here. This carries a 6-game minimum penalty, and or, so it could be a minimum, it could be combined, of a time punishment, whether it's 6 or up to 12 months in this case, and then depending on the case, right? Finally, for non-physical abuse, assault, harassment, we have level 4, which is the more severe on this current updated policy. And here, as the video mentioned as well, you have discriminatory, derogatory words and actions, and you can see the list here based on the individual's background, right? The penalty is the highest in this case for the non-physical abuse, 10 games and or 12 to 24 months suspension. Okay, now we transitioned from non-physical to physical. Okay, this is where there is contact made. And other than a handshake, there's no need for any contact with the match official, as the video said. In this case, we have 3 levels, okay, as opposed to 4 in non-physical. Physical abuse, assault, harassment has 3 levels. And as before, level 1 is the lowest in severity, and this is minor or slight touching. But again, it's outside of a handshake. It's unwelcome, unneeded, unwanted touching. And so if this happens and it's reported and the competition authority validates that this is the case after they do their investigation, etc., the outcome, the penalty could be for the offender 3 games and or 1 to 6 months suspension. And then level 2, intentional confrontation. Okay, and we have the list here: clear pushing, grabbing, pulling. This one hits close to home because, more than 5 years ago, probably 10 to 15 years ago, then this image really speaks volumes to me, because I experienced this type of assault. And so again, I'm very, very happy that we have now clarity, clear definitions, clear process for all involved to follow, so that we can, prevent as much as possible these incidents from happening. In this case, 10-game suspension as a penalty, and or 1 to 6 months as a minimum punishment. Then finally, for physical abuse, assault, or harassment, the level 3, the most severe. Now here we're talking about violent conduct, violent behavior, such as you see on the list. It's not just touching, but now it's a threat of violence and actual violence and actions: hitting, punching, elbowing, kicking, etc. And of course, we don't need that in any of our games, any soccer game, youth and adult environment. And so the punishment here would be 12 games minimum and or up to lifetime ban for the offender. Again, there's due process for any alleged offense, but if this goes to the end and everything's verified after due process, it could lead up to this minimum suspension. Okay, so again, hopefully this gives you a brief overview, right? For some of you, you're becoming aware right now, okay? Because this is the first time you're here or you're hearing second time or so. For another subgroup, you've heard about it, but now you're being informed a little bit more. You're spending this time tonight. Maybe you did spend some time going through some of the resources available, publicly available online. And then for another part of you, of this group, it's not just being aware or informed, but now you're beginning to understand what this is about, right? Not just the big process, but the specific focus process as steps, as John mentioned earlier. If it happens or when it happens, we're preparing you to what to do next right after that. And then finally, the goal for everyone is to be able not only to be aware, inform, and understand, but also apply it to the best of your ability, to the best and as quick as needed. There's a timeline to follow, as you'll hear John share, so that again it can result in the appropriate sanctions once all the process is done. Okay, and more than that, this, as mentioned earlier, the resources has a landing page for you to download resources, share them with others. The policy itself is a 4-page with some images and diagrams that includes definitions, process, procedure, and then punishment tables, etc. And there's also a 1 sheet for the matrix of penalties or punishments, if you wanted to share that or review that. Again, there's other resources for the leagues, competition authorities, members of the federation to, again, put on their website, share via email. And of course, the video that we shared as well is there for you and everyone else. Coaches, we ask coaches to share this information in their parent-coach meetings, and it will not be the first and last time we do that. We have to continue to do that. Not just the federation themselves, but also now every state association through the SRCs, through the directors of coaching, administrators, all working together so that we can, as much as possible, do the best we can to prevent this type of incident. Okay, so again, thank you for listening. Thank you for joining tonight, and thank you for becoming more aware, more informed, increase your understanding and apply it, and then share it with as many people as you can. Where do you find it? ussoccer.com/RAP or RAP, Referee Abuse Prevention. And then use your phones right now. Use your phones, please, to scan the QR code, and you'll go directly to the page where you can download and share all the resources and join the movement, really, to create a better environment, game after game, season after season, the youth environment, adult environment, amateur adult environment. Okay, and so with that, we will pause and take questions. Please type them in the Q&A, and some of you may be able to.
We do have a question.
Yeah, go ahead, John.
What about age discrimination? In the example, you are too old to referee. Someone screams at you, you are too old to referee.
Yeah, so again, to me, this is insulting, abusive, offensive, right? If you as a referee or you as an assistant referee feel that way, that it's abuse, offensive, or insulting, then of course the laws of the game, are clear in that term. After that, you have to submit a report, but I won't get ahead because John has all that information. So I can see that being a form of abuse, probably the lowest level, perhaps, depends on the aggressive nature. If there was more context, more words, offensive or whatever, maybe it could go to level 2 or what have you. But again, it'll go case by case, and there'll be due process, right? There'll be an investigation and all that. But yeah.
Okay, we have some hand raised. We'll start off with Jose. Jose Alcala, you want to unmute yourself and ask your question? Jose? Well, we'll move to Ignacio. Ignacio, can you unmute yourself? Mendoza?
When you get a chance, John, if you can make me a co-host, maybe I can help also.
I already did make you a co-host.
Okay.
How about Nicola? Nicola, unmute yourself.
Hello, can you hear me?
Can hear you. Yes, sir.
So my question is, we all know that behavior of the parents, spectators, if they misbehave, it's that team's parents' responsibility for them to make sure they're acting in a responsible manner. Now, if we have spectators that are being abusive or a certain individual, how does that affect the coach of that team or that club, in that sense? Or it goes directly to that person or that individual in question?
Yeah, that's a very good question, Nicola. Thank you. And yes, you're right. The clubs in the youth environment, generally speaking, the coaches or the team officials for that club are responsible for their parents, right? There may be some rules of competition that have other things, within. So make sure you check rules of competition as well. But in general, if spectators are interfering with the game in any way, shape, or form, including being abusive towards the referee team or a member of the referee team especially, then the laws of the game do say, right, that the referees have the power to suspend the game. So yes, bring your referee team together, and then speak to the coaches. Don't engage the spectators, right? Speak to the coaches, tell them, hey, we need your support. If you know the person or people, maybe the ask would be, okay, those individuals need to be asked to remove or go to the car, whatever the case, depending on the severity. But let the coach handle that first, right? The coaches has the choice to do it or not to do it. If they choose to do it and help, then the game can be restarted, right? Should the behavior or the spectators continue, the game again can be suspended and maybe even terminated, because there's no effective way that the spectators stop their behavior and stop interfering with the game. Or that could be that the coaches decide that they don't want to have to do anything with the parents. In that case, then, because they're not doing anything, then that the referee team has a choice to say, okay, we terminate the game because there's interference by the spectators. Now, ideally, obviously, we're going to do the best you can as a referee team to get the game going, to get the game finished, but without putting yourselves in any danger or any threatening situation. So that's why we ask first that you request the help of the coaches. Okay, and if they help, great, and if they don't, you still have the option of terminating the game. All right.
All right, we have another question here. Very quickly, if this is one of our young referees, if I want to referee in Iowa and I'm a minor, do I need to wear a green band? Whoever that was, an anonymous attendee, we have started the green band. It's a USSF sponsored initiative, the green armband. I don't know if Iowa's doing it. Abby, would you know if Iowa's doing the green band initiative?
I'm going to make this comment. Irrespective of where you go, you can use it. If anybody asks you, you just tell them why you are using it. Okay, regardless of what the other state says. Okay.
Excellent. Thank you, Abby. Then we have Oscar. How about if they say you don't know how the game is played? I'm gonna
I'm gonna
Oscar,
answer that.
well,
Listen, gentlemen and ladies, every comment that they make does not fall under the guidelines of offense and abusing. That is a coach's comment. We all know, and you should know, we have some new and young referees here that are going to face, as Nicholas said, parents, spectators, coaches with loud noises, loud shouting. It's not these are the people we are looking at. If somebody says you don't know what you're doing, it's a comment. We should please distinguish between offensive language, okay, as opposed to comment. There's a big difference.
Very good.
okay. We have another one. Is it 2 yellow cards before red?
Well,
So are you
in
going to
general-
caution them twice before you send them off? I think is what they're asking, Pedro.
Oh, yeah. So in this case, again, it just depends on the situation and the context. If it's a yellow card, then we're not talking about anything that we just described in terms of the policy. A yellow card, as you know, could be dissent, unsporting behavior, etc. But yeah, if somebody gets a second yellow card for delay of restart or anything else outside, then they get a red. So not every red card is gonna be, investigated, or not every red card is an abuse or assault necessarily. Okay.
Can I ask a question? I'm hoping wherever the question is coming from, who's the question from, John? I'm hoping what Sean is just a general yellow and red card, double yellow card. But do understand, just like Pedro just presented, abusive or language could go straight to red card. You do not have to give double yellow card. It could be a straight red card. If that was relating to your question, please understand that.
Mm-hmm.
It could be a straight red card. You don't feel like you have to go to 1 and 2 showing 2 yellow card. Okay, if that's the question, as opposed to if the question was in relating to the loss of the game offenses, reckless, delay restart, that's different. Okay, hope that answered the question for the person.
Very good.
Dimitri's asking, how do I get a green armband? Dimitri, you should have received one when you did your field session. If you did not receive one and you are underage, if you're under 18 and you're refereeing, contact the office and Jenny, who is our office director, will get one out to you. All right. Dimitri also asked, so is saying you should quit, I don't want to say the word, but you stink, the other word, or a comment or abuse. Just by saying you should quit, it depends on what level you feel that you are harassed or abused by, verbally abused. Abby, you want to take that one?
Similarly to, listen, some of these things, you can make a report to the SRA and come to copy your sign-up. And they will literally, in most cases, probably say, okay, this one needs to go forward or not. Not every comment that they say is offensive, but at the same time, you should not be out there taking abuse verbally or otherwise from anybody. Okay. And to me, if somebody uses kind of word, it is a comment that I would make a report to my signer, to the league, and to the SRA, and then let them go proceed. Okay.
All right, we have quite a few hands raised. Jose Acala, do you want to unmute yourself and ask your question? Ignacio, how about you? Ignacio Mendoza? Dimitri, you still have your hand raised. I'm assuming you've got your question answered. How about Peyton Luckett? Peyton? Peyton? No? Okay. How about, let's see. We've quite a few.
Sorry.
Yeah, go ahead.
I'm
Go ahead,
Peyton.
Peyton.
There are a lot of leagues that let the teams assign ARs. Is there, should those ARs be expecting those teams to be issuing those green armbands?
if they're under the age, ISRC give them the armband, not the team. Okay, when they get a license, the first time license, the ISRC, John, the director of our instruction, they give the armband to all our underage referees.
Right, but
So-
a lot of these referees are just ARs and they're not licensed by USSF. It's usually for U13 or younger. The YSSL and IWSL do this.
I would think maybe something the board can take. Maybe we can only encourage its clubs to do that, but we cannot mandate them, because if they're not licensed, there's really not much we can do.
Okay, thank you.
The other thing I would add, Peyton, is that you should recommend or tell
Yep.
them that here's the link to get a course and this and that, so that they can get some training, and then, you know, it'll benefit the person doing it already, and then the league, and then all of that. So that's another option as well.
I'm gonna butcher this name, I think, Tariq
Tariq
Abasad?
Abu
Yes,
Saad.
sir. Yes, sir.
Go
Thank
ahead,
you.
please.
First of all, thank you guys for doing this video. It's really helpful. It really helped a lot. Cannot say how much I appreciate you guys for all this work that you guys do.
Thank you.
My question is like a 2 questions follow-up. So my understanding from Mr. Pedro and you, Mr. Abby, and the rest of you, all the 4 levels of the non-verbal abuse and all the 3 levels of the physical abuse, they are straight red,
Level 4.
correct?
Yes.
Okay.
Level 4.
So when you issue red, the coach has to leave the building.
So they have to leave the vicinity, right? But be careful, because some leagues, they need an adult, right? If they're youth
No, I'm
play.
talking about coaches. Coaches.
Yeah. So they need an
They
assistant.
have to leave the building. They have to leave the field.
They have to leave the field. They have to leave the vicinity. So basically,
Right.
if they will leave the technical area and go stay somewhere in the stand, there's nothing you can do. But now they cannot, from this time, be engaged in the game.
The problem I'm having is, are they allowed to come back on the field after the game is over and still
Technically,
are they allowed to come back after the game is over to the field?
technically, once the game is over and you are off the field, they can come back to their team.
No, we're not off the field. They come back and they still talk some trash and still abuse, because now the game is over. They want to come back and intimidate you more.
Make a report to the league.
Got you. And now the other question is I have follow up. If the abuse comes from an assistant coach, does he get the red? And do you also give the coach some kind of like a yellow?
No,
Or-
only the perpetrator. Whoever does it is the person that you give the yellow or red card to.
Okay, so the coach doesn't get penalized for the assistant coach for yelling and abusing.
You can't punish somebody for what they didn't do. Sorry.
Okay, sounds good. Thank you so much for that.
Saman, do you have a question? Saman?
Yeah, thank you. I wanted to follow up on Nicola's, and I know Abby explained it really well, that in case of confusion, also write a report and things will be taken care of through the due process. But just an example, in the subtle kind of comments, let's say the parents were being unhelpful and the referee team goes to the coach, tells them, hey, the parents are abusing me. Now, the coach makes a very subtle, confusing kind of comment like, serves you kind right. Now, this is a very confusing argument. You kind, you officials, is it racial? So what about these kind of comments?
I would say, is it clear, right? If it's clear, no doubt. If it's unclear and you can move on with the game, then you just are aware of it, right? Because if it continues, the behavior continues, then it can erase a
Hold
right
on,
to
Pedro.
more dissent.
Please,
or...
please, let me
go
ask
ahead,
this
go ahead,
question.
Abby.
So, are you saying, let me get a bit clear. If a parent says something, you brought up to the coach. Upon bringing up to the coach, now the coach responds by saying, that comment serves you right. Is that what you're saying?
Yeah, but in some subtle manner, which is not very clear, like serves you kind right. These kind of confusing things.
If
So was that?
if the coach or any coach is enforcing the bad manner of somebody else, they're just as guilty. Okay?
Mhm.
If a
Reporting.
parent or somebody uses offensive language or whatever, and like you said, say something that you find and you report to the coach, and the coach, let me just say something like, well, he deserved it. That's the same thing I say, it sounds you right. Okay? That coach is just as guilty because he's encouraging. Now you can give them a warning or yellow. You can proceed. Okay? So
Okay, thank you.
just because they didn't initiate it, but now they're actually encouraging it with their own word.
Okay, got it. Thank you.
Jose, you've had your hand up for a while, and I think you finally muted yourself. Jose Alcala? No? All right. Well, how about Miles? Miles, you just raised your hand. Miles? I'm sorry, Brian Mullen?
Philip Sinano.
Senano.
Philip, what's up?
Yes, yeah. In terms of physical confrontation, is it okay to protect yourself and defend yourself first before you make any report later on?
If I may ask, what do you mean by defend yourself or protect yourself?
Or let's say you're being confronted physically by a player or a coach. I mean, which something that can result in physical fight. Do you protect, if you can, do you protect yourself and defend yourself first?
I'm not a legal person. I'm not a police or lawyer. But I would say is in any cases, if you find yourself in a physical threat in any shape or form, the first thing you want to do is make sure you are safe. And if you need to get out of there, get out of there. Please do not engage. We cannot condone you getting physically involved with anybody. We cannot approve that for you because all it will do is make it matters worse. So the first thing you should do is find safety for yourself to get out of there. Okay?
Oh yeah, I mean definitely. That's what my question was, to protect yourself, and then probably if it escalates to violence, to respond and then move away. That's what I mean.
Again, we cannot, under any circumstances, encourage you to physically respond to anybody. We cannot. What we can tell you is, okay, if that happened, one, get out of there, find safety, call the police if you have to, okay, and then report. But please, all of you, do not respond by aggressively, physically confronting them. It will lead to nothing but more headache.
Absolutely, understand. Thank you.
Thank you.
Matus, is that how you pronounce your name?
Yes.
That's really close. Thank you. Thank you for having me. Can you guys hear me?
Yep.
Okay, thank you. I'm a new referee, and I want to admit that last year, as my kids were playing, I was one of those parents getting excited about the game, not understanding fully what the referees are going through. Now that I'm one, I see the game from totally different perspective. I still play the game as a player. And I got to tell you, watching that ball for 60 minutes, being part of it at every second, it gives you totally different perspective on the game. And I noticed that most of those parents, they don't realize that everybody has its own perspective, and the referee is the one who will call the game.
Matthias,
yes.
Matthias, can we start a hashtag Matthias parents join the referee club?
Yeah.
Yes.
I'm sorry, I missed that.
Can we start a hashtag parents join the referee club, and you be the proprietor, you be the leader, because I love what you're saying, because we need to get more parents to see the other side, and maybe, just maybe, just the same way you do. And I can tell you, I coach, and I can tell you that it's a different perspective when you're on the field. So thank you for that
Yes.
comment. Thank you for that
So
comment.
many times I want to share with those parents and teach them about the game, because sometimes they just wrong. They don't even know the rules. But I'm thinking maybe you guys can come up with a phrase that will cut the conversation short, because those parents don't stop. They just, you have one or two that will just keep going. And maybe if you can come up with a phrase that we can tell those people, like, we're not supposed to be responding to,
We will
I
do
don't
that.
know, just an
Actually,
idea, just an
no,
idea.
actually, we that was done prior last year, but we will redo that. We do that every year.
Oh,
So,
no kidding.
Matthias, so since you've just started and please, we want to be more prominent in this session, third Monday of every month, and we will revisit that to bring
For,
that back so that people can use those verbiage. We actually have something in writing already, but
for
we'll bring it
sure.
up.
As a new referee, I have so many questions, like most of us. And there's, this weekend I was watching my other referee friend, and the coach was very knowledgeable. He told me he's been around for 60. No, maybe he was 60. So he was teaching for 30, 40 years.
Mhm.
And he just didn't agree with simple calls. It's like,
Okay,
I
but
don't
thank you.
understand that.
We understood,
But my
Matthias.
question,
That's okay. We continue.
thank you for your time. My question is, sometimes as a parent, I notice parents hunting parents. Every goal they would have like a bell cows, and they will, really make those other parents feel bad. Can we do something about that? Can
Well,
we,
let's look into all those things. Another time will come. We have other people, Matthias, and we'll have a few minutes
Okay.
left. So can we please
Thank
give them a
you.
chance? Thank you, Matthias.
Okay, bye.
George, you have a question? George?
He's
And
gone.
takes a second to unmute. More of a statement. The original question that was asked 2 questions ago, should you physically confront the individual who's abusing you? The answer is no. If someone tries to assault you, your best option is to run away. If you swing back, you will get a free ride in a police car. You will be charged with assault. Do not do that.
I think we made that loud and clear already. But thank you,
I'm
Judge, for it.
making it more clear as someone who was assaulted on a field. The best thing you can do is run away as fast as you can. You're probably in better shape than them. Just run away. If you've got your phone with you, call 911, call the police. Talk to
Alright.
spectators, call the police.
All right,
Thank you,
thanks,
George.
George. Todd.
Jose Akala. Hold on, Jose. Are you still here? We'll come to Todd next. Jose?
He raised his hand.
Jose accidentally raised his hand.
Right.
He texted me. He doesn't have a question.
Okay. Todd.
Todd, talk to us.
My comment was just, if you have that kind of abuse from fans, just send them to the parking lot. They can watch the game from their car. There's no reason that you should tolerate parents doing that on the field. If they're yelling at their kids, if they're yelling at the opponents, they don't have to be there. The game is for the kids.
I want to thank you, Todd. This is what you, from experience again, you'll be surprised when you tell a parents to go to their car. They are more embarrassed than you can think because their kids are even embarrassed. Okay? And you tell the coach, say, I need that parent's leave. Thank you, Judge, for that. Todd, for that comment.
All right, Patrick, you have a question real quick?
We have 4 more minutes. Few more minutes.
Yep, I
Few more
got I got an email and feedback has been coming in. One person who's on the call, so I'll ask it for them, just so they don't have to expose themselves. If referee abuse has occurred this season, especially with a minor who's involved, can the parent or the advisors or the guiders help them report an incident that happened this season, say 3 weeks ago, using this new policy now that they're aware of it?
We're going to go through the reporting policy in just a second.
Oh,
okay.
So sorry.
Okay. And then we have Brian, you asked the question, what happens if abuse occurs and I'm the only official? Do I conference with the coaches? Well, I wouldn't conference with the coach that was abusing you, but you I mean, that's just me, but no, what you do is if they're abusing you, one of the coaches is abusing you and he keeps abusing you, you just suspend the match. And if it's not taken care of, then you abandon the match and you move on, pick up your stuff and go home. All right.
Last question. Late.
Leif Jato.
Okay, John, you want to round it up to your report?
All right, so let's Pedro, if you would stop sharing and I'll share mine.
You can share no writing.
Yeah, there we go. All right, let me share real quick. All right, we left off at this one right here, the focus. We're going to be, again, Pedro made it very clear on what's abuse, assault, or harassment. Now we're going to go over the referee and the policy, and I'm sorry, the procedure on how to write the report or how to go with it. Okay. So, okay, a written report. The U.S. Soccer Supplemental Report. We want you to submit it. It needs to be submitted within 48 hours of the incident. And these are the people that you're going to submit it to. You're going to submit it to the assigner. You're going to submit it to the competition authorities. So if it's IYSA or if it's US Club or it's ISSA, you're going to submit it to them. We also want you to submit it to our state referee administrator, the SRA. And her email address is right down there at sra@ilsoccerrefs.org. All right. If it's a tournament, okay, we want the report written on the very same day. We want it submitted on the very same day. All right. And this is who you're going to submit it to. Someone's not on mute. If everybody could mute themselves, I'd appreciate that. We want you to do it to the assigner.
And then the principal's like,
Submit it to the assigner right away. The tournament director. And again, to our SRA. Here's the thing about what we've asked the assigners to do, and we're just going over this again. If it's a special event, a tournament, written report has to be submitted. And we've asked the assigners to help the referees write the report and make it clear and make it correct. Because the assigners count on the referees, and they want the referees to stay with them. So we've asked the assigners to just help the referees submit the report, get it written out, find the supplemental report, and I'm going to show you in just a little bit where the supplemental report is. You can find. These are the things that we want you to put on that report. In the match details, we need the team information, what team it was, what age group there are, U15, U18, adult, whatever. We want the score, we want the date, and the location of where it happened, what field it was on. When we get into the details, we want a few other things. We want the person who was the offending person. We want their name, the jersey number, if it's a player, and the team that they're on. All right. And who the actions were directed to. Was it directed to you, the center referee? Was it to the AR? We need to know that. Specifics. We want to know if they actually touched you, if it was just verbal, so non-physical or physical. Where the incident took place, whether it was on the field, whether it was off the field, whether it was in the parking lot. If you go and you're at the bathroom and they follow you into the bathroom, we want to know that too. And when the incident occurred. If it's during the match, we want to know that it was in the 52nd minute, it was in the 18th minute, wherever it was, and then before or after the match. Here's what we want. We want just the facts. We don't need opinions. Stick to the facts, and we want you to describe it in detail. And here's the thing that I've heard is that some people, if someone uses the F word at you, we want you to write the F word in the report. Okay? We want you to describe it in detail. We want to know exactly what they said. Let's not make it personal, okay? And we want you to include, we don't want you to include any opinion. We don't want you to speculate. We don't want you to what you suggest should happen to the player. We don't want any of that. Let the competition authority take care of that. Here's some helpful links for reporting, okay? I'm going to show you a few when we go onto the ISRC website real quick. But it's on the ISRC website, and you can see it at www.ilsoccerrefs.org. You're going to click on the resource and RAP information. We're going to go over that in just a second. Click on the reporting procedure for ref abuse. And then it's going to take you to the supplemental report. You're going to click on that. Okay. And if we have and if you need any more additional RAP resources, it's right here on the US Soccer website. Now, as I said, here is a screenshot of the ISRC website. Right here is the resources and RAP information. If you click on that, it will take you to this page. Over here, right here, it's a referee abuse, an assault, right? Or the reporting procedure. If you click on that, it's going to take you to this report, this screen. Right here is the US Soccer supplementary report, right here. And that will bring up the supplementary report. All right. Thank you, everybody. But now we will open it up for questions again. If you have any questions, let us know. We'd love to take any more questions. Anybody, and we can put it in the chat. You can raise your hand.
I think they asked most of the questions out there already. That's probably why.
Right. I think we're exhausted the questions.
But please, everybody, why the police are there to guide us, to give you guidance. Please be out there. Please be safe out there. You're a referee. Don't involve. Todd said it the best. George said it the best, and everybody's saying it. Do not be involved in any physical with any player or coaches or parents. Safety first, make a report. Use your phone, call 911 if you have to. Call the police if you have to. But follow the detail and make a report of the incident. Okay? Please be safe out there. We are referee. We are not, it doesn't make us fun to anybody abusing you, verbally or otherwise. Thank you.
Tariq, you had your question, your hand raised.
Yeah, I have a question. Just one last question. When you were there with other referees, like the awesome referees, and you'd be like, oh, like, what game are you gonna do like tomorrow? You'd be like, oh, I'm going to the school. Be like, oh my God, watch for this coach. He's gonna yell, scream. He's gonna I give him a red card. And other referees. So it seems like this coach has a reputation of always getting kicked out, always getting red cards, and they tell you to be aware of him. So the problem that I have with this, why is this coach still allowed to do this, even though he received so many red cards, he's been kicked out, the AD know about it, like, but you still have to go and face him. Like, what is that reporting doing? What is him getting kicked out 3 more times, 4 more times, and he still come back and do the same thing? He's not learning. He's not being punished enough. What is that, like, why we always have to, like, oh my God, watch out for this coach. You're gonna have it. He's gonna let you hear. So it's been reported many times, but he's still allowed to coach, and he's not gonna change. So what difference? Like, what is it gonna make a difference with this kind of coaching?
All right. All you can do is you make your report. If you know, and the league knows that coach is on suspension, then you can follow. But all you can do, you cannot what the league does is different. And that is why we, ISRC and SRA, needs to know, because we need to follow up to see the importance of your report, to make sure that it's not just been neglected. Okay? As far as, if, let's say, like Pedro showed that, say 4 games, somebody could get 4 games, could be 6 months to a year or 24 months. You don't know. So if they only give them 4 games, then maybe they just get minimum. And the funny thing that is, a lot of you have to understand, and this is something that is a loophole, a coach get a 4-game suspension. And in most clubs, that coach probably might be responsible for coaching the U12, U13, U14, and U15, and all may be playing in one day. Guess what? If he sit out that one day, technically he has just served his 4-game suspension. So
my issue is why he's not learning, like why he's not.
So that is not our job. That is not our job. Sorry.
You're right. You're right. You're right.
That's not our job. Okay. But listen, in the interest of time, I want to thank you, everybody. Pedro, Pedro.
Abby, we just have 2 quick questions in the chat, real quick. The anonymous attendee who said that they have not received their license yet, please contact the ISRC office, talk to Jenny Miguel. That should have been submitted. And then we had Richard, you asked the question about, after report is submitted, will the referees be kept in the loop regarding the outcome and the follow-up? Yes. Yes. Okay. And then something about rich clubs and coaches don't care. I'll tell you right now, I'm the head referee for Barrington. They're very well off in Barrington, and I've been there for almost 20 some years now. And a lot of the coaches care. They've become a professional and they care. So, all right. I think that's about it. Any other questions real quick? No?
Just real quick, John, in terms of referees being in the loop, I'm not too sure if you're going to get the full scope of all the way to punishment and whatever that's turned into the federation, right? There may be the competition authority or hearing committee reach out to you if they're doing an investigation. But again, you have to remember that some of this privacy, issues or laws or whatever may apply, as opposed to the professional level where a coach name or player's name is published with a punishment or a fine. The youth and adult environment is different in that way. So yeah, you may receive hey, thank you for submitting your report, but you may not see the full scope, and you don't need to, right? As we said, the focus is what we need to do and what we can control. Thank you, John.
All right. Thank you, everybody, for jumping on. We really appreciate it. Again, as you might know, that every third Monday of the month, we have a continuing education, different topics. This one happened to be about the RAP policy, but look at the website because we have some very interesting subjects that will be coming up real soon. Anything to say, Abby, before we go?
Oh, thank you. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you for joining. Look forward to you being out there on the field. Okay?
Pedro?
Thank you.
Thank you. Good night.
Thank you,
Good night,
everybody.
everyone.
Stay